there is a growing community of Indians, not because of the universities, but because of all the companies. Ireland also, there is a growing Indian community, particularly in Dublin. One is, of course, because of the number of students who are coming, but also because of all the professionals who are working in all the companies that we have. For example, in Dublin, we have all the top gaming companies are based in Dublin. Then we have Facebook, we have Google, we have Bank of Ireland, IBM, Microsoft, they're all there. And they employ a large community of Indian professionals. So for advice would be to students to do learn to cook. That is how one of the reasons why students should be signing up for going away from home for their studies. For example, during Christmas, then all the applications for a part-time job during the holiday season has to be done.
To all my dear listeners out there, a very good evening. I am Anne Gracious, your host for today, representing ICAE. Welcome to the third episode of our podcast, Thursday series called as Beyond Borders Higher Ed Edition. Today, we are thrilled to discuss a destination in particular. Can you guess? It's Ireland. Our topic today is unlocking opportunities for Indian students in Ireland. We have a very special guest with us, Miss Nilanjana, who is a regional manager, India and South Asia for Trinity College Dublin, Ireland. Trinity College Dublin is established in 1592, is Ireland's oldest and most prestigious university. It's known for its world-class education and historic campus, and it offers a diverse range of undergrad and postgrad programs. It has been attracting students from around the globe for so many years now. Welcome, Ms. Nilanjana. We are excited to have you with us today to shed light on this important topic. But before that, can you please introduce yourself and your role at Trinity College Dublin for us?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me here today. My name is Nilanjana Shihn, and my role is as the regional manager for Trinity College Dublin. And I look after India and South Asia. In terms of my role, it covers both recruitment of students as well as looking after our partnerships to some extent. And within that, what I cover is end-to-end support to our students, starting from informing them about opportunities that Trinity offers, their application process, then when getting their offers, what are the next steps, all the way to the visa process. So we assist our students, and of course, once they are there, in case they need any help, apart from all the supports that they have on campus, in case the students need, they can always turn around to us and for any kind of assistance. And I'm the regional manager, but I also have a large team now, which is the South Asia team of Trinity. So we have colleagues based in Mumbai. We have one person in Delhi. And also we have another team member in Bangalore and in Chennai, so that we are able to offer our students individual kind of a support wherever they need. So that is in a nutshell of all that we do.
Amazing. In fact, kudos to you and your team for spreading the word about Trinity College Dublin. It's already a well-known name, and helping students to be a part of that university and, learn a lot of things and get their courses done, be a part of that global exposure and be a part of that alumni community. So kudos to you and your team. Now, since you have been a part of Trinity College Dublin and Ireland has been a destination that you have been helping students for a while now, what makes Ireland a unique and attractive destination for Indian students or Asian students in general?
So, in general, what I would say is for the international students, what Ireland has, it is a very safe, it is a very welcoming destination. And also, apart from the academic outcomes that it provides, it is also the post-study career outcomes, which are definitely real. And there is an abundance of industry interface that is available to students through projects, through internships, and also part-time job opportunities during their journey as a student. So Ireland, as you might know, is a small country, both in size and population. So it is just about 5 million people, so very small population, but it packs a punch way above its weight. And to give you an example, according to IMF, in the last 8 years, Ireland has surpassed larger nations like the US and rich countries like Qatar to become the second richest country in the world with a per capita GDP of over 101,000 USD. And that would have a direct bearing on the quality of life. It would have a bearing on the starting salaries that students will be in a position to command for themselves. And apart from that, Ireland also has a very long tradition in education excellence and also in offering a very innovative, a very creative culture, because of which it is famously known as the land of saints and scholars. It is also among the safest countries in the world, so it offers a very welcoming destination for international students. And with Brexit, it is the only English speaking country in the EU. And it also offers a graduate scheme or job search visa of 1 year for those who complete a bachelor degree and a 2 year visa to those who complete a master degree in Ireland. So all of those together, and in addition to that, the economic climate in Ireland is extremely promising. It is the fastest growing economy in Europe, and that is largely due to the presence of more than 1,500 leading global companies that have substantial operations in Ireland. And a majority of these companies have their European headquarters within the country. If we look at the economy, then ICT, financial services, medical, tech, and biopharma are the key sectors. All of those factors put together make it an extremely attractive and an extremely safe, welcoming destination. And that is why we see more and more students looking to go to Ireland now.
Ireland definitely sounds interesting. Then the way you quoted it, it seems like one of the best destinations to be at for students. But yes, you did mention about student support, post-study opportunities, and some support services that is offered to the students. I would like to know specifically, how does Trinity College Dublin assist students?
All right. So before they come to Ireland, we have the team that I told you about. We offer end-to-end services so that their journey to Ireland is as seamless as possible. But of course, it is a very critical decision of one's life. It is a life-changing decision. We have all the supports in place on the campus, be it counseling supports, learning supports, then professional supports to the career services, clubs and societies to offer a very well-rounded experience, essentially to make it transformative, sort of an experience while they are on campus, because the master students only have 1 year to go with us, whereas our undergrad programs are 4 years. So students have a long time to avail all of those services. So like any other world-class university, we would have all the supports in place where the students can go seek help. But yes, it is not just to those students who are coming to Trinity, but for all international students, they need to know that help is at hand, but they are expected to be proactive, to seek that help, because it is not going to come to you while it is in place. You are supposed to know about it and you are supposed to seek that help, because you are the best judge of what kind of assistance you need. So all of those supports would definitely be there. As far as our career services is concerned, it's an award-winning service. It assists our students throughout while they are a student. We have more than 200 workshops across the year so that their transition from being a student into the professional world is as seamless as possible. Like I said, for master students, it's just 1 year. So they have it. Our programs are very rigorous. They are very condensed. So students really have to balance between, their academic pursuits and preparing for their careers. And in addition to that, we have job fairs. We have a portal where we list out all the postings, and there are more than 1,800 partners that we have who participate in our job fairs and publish their listings on the website. So we ask the students during their orientation to customize their profile as to what kind of part-time jobs they may be looking at, what kind of workshops they may be interested in, and also their full-time jobs. So it is an excellent support system that they will find on the campus.
By the talks of how you're portraying the university to me, and I feel Trinity is more like an ecosystem that is built up for all the students, where whether they're an undergrad or a postgrad, once they come in, they have everything in place till the time they walk out of that university. And even after that, as long as the university can help them, the university is happy to assist, right? I'm already in love with Ireland, the way you have already said. And I believe there are some young listeners who are in school. And even after COVID hit us in the year of 2019, even post that, there has been a lot of trends that has changed. for undergrad admissions. US, in some cities of India, it is not the number one popular destination, but in some cities, it has still prevailed to hold that position. And any comparison when made, most of the young scholars and their parents tend to make a comparison for any country with USA and the experience in terms of the education quality, the lifestyle, the opportunities, and lot more. So, to address this query that might be lingering in their minds, how does the student experience in Ireland compare with that of USA?
US, to start with, I would say it is not a fair comparison. One, because US is huge. There would be a whole lot of universities, and there would be universities that can cater to every kind of student in terms of their academic profile, also in terms of their finances. Ireland, like I said, is a small country. One advantage that students are seeking, or rather parents are seeking, is that it is much closer to home. And I personally feel that the growing interest in Ireland is also the way it acted during COVID. So that was a sort of a litmus test of what is the government's actual vision for the students, or rather the international students. Ireland's support, or rather Ireland's response to COVID, was one of the best in the world. And it was one of the very few countries, I think I only know of Canada as being the other one, which supported international students to the extent that every international student who lost a part time job was paid a subsistence of about 350 euros per week. So that says a lot of where the government is coming from and how important, or rather integral, the international student population is to the economy, to the overall fabric of the country. So I think that is one important feedback where we have seen post COVID, the demand rising exponentially. And even during COVID, we had supported students, and I personally remember that we had students, girl students who were under 18, who had offers before COVID hit. And they chose to not lose their year and go to Trinity because of how assured they felt of the kind of supports that are going to be available. And this has even more prominence because at that time, the visa office was not issuing visas for the parents to, accompany. Usually the parents would go, especially the under 18 students, parents make it a point to go there and see for themselves. And that was not the case. In spite of that, Ireland was able to instill that kind of confidence in the parents to be able to send their students and not keep them back. When the reality was so different. It was so scary rather. But the experience has been great. The feedback has been great. Of course, we had instances where students need assistance. They needed medical assistance. They needed counseling assistance because of everything that was going around. So I would think that it is the welcome that Ireland has to offer to the international students. That is one. Second is being closer home. Third, being an English-speaking country closer home. And also in terms of the career outcomes that it offers, because there's a great feedback flowing back. There is a growing community of Indians, not because of the universities, but because of all the companies which hire so many Indian Indian professionals. So all of that put together is, moving Ireland along. And US is, of course, it has always been the leader as far as it has been the aspiration for students. However, what I have seen is that students who come to Trinity in particular are those who are particular that they do not want to go to the US for any reason. One could be that they are not ready with the culture. One is often it is that it is too far away from home, and there is a huge cultural shock that awaits them. So there could be a variety of reasons. But of course, I can speak for Ireland that we can take pride in the way we have supported our students. And that is the testimony is that how the population continues to grow, and not just the universities, but the entire sector, rather the government has been very supportive of international students. So when I am personally counseling the students, it is gratifying for me to say that we are telling them to go to a country where we know for a fact that it is going to be the high point of their student experience and their career journey. I think that is how I would sum up. Of course, it might not be across the board. There would be other universities as well. In my experience, because I have been with Trinity for more than 7 years now, I have hardly come across any issues where the students have given a negative feedback, where they've had issues which were not addressed in time and appropriately. So all in all, it has been a great journey for me personally and for all the students that I have supported.
That's amazing. In fact, you have covered a lot of points about how Ireland has been standing out compared to US, and US is not comparing factor either, and Ireland is by itself a league of its own. But yes, there is one factor I believe that parents would have in mind, students would have in mind, is the scholarships and the cost of education. The living cost is high in most of the countries, and US not being different from that. And then there is scholarships, financial aids, and lot more. So, what is the cost of education and scholarships and financial aid that is generally offered in Ireland, and also specifically for Trinity, if you can throw some light on it?
Yes. So again, there is a huge range, because if we compare US universities, which might be at par with Trinity, and here I think it might be a valid point to mention that at Trinity, the largest cohort of non-EU students that we have on our campus are American students. And they are far surpass the second largest population, which is now Chinese, and Indians are third now. But if you look at Indian students who have always formed the second largest cohort, there is a gap of almost 1,000 more American students, which form the largest cohort, which says for itself. And if we compare, it's very difficult to compare, because again, the universities, there is a huge range in terms of their standing, in terms of which city they might be, which has a bearing on the cost of living. Scholarships, of course, we can compare. So if I were to compare with universities which might be at par with Trinity in the US, then they are far more expensive than our programs. And the cost of living, again, would be determined on the city in which they are based. So, for example, a good example would be a dual BA program that we have with Columbia University in New York, and wherein students do 2 years in Trinity, and then they progress on to the third and fourth year at Columbia. So if we compare the costs between Columbia and Trinity, there's huge, much higher in the US. So that is one point. About the cost of living, again, within Ireland, Dublin, where we are based, is more expensive than other cities like Cork or Galway or Maynooth. But still, the cost would be less than what you may have in the top cities in the US, like New York, for example. As far as the financial supports are concerned, we only offer partial scholarships, and only for the first year. There is a foundation scholarship where students can appear for a test in their second year, and there they get a substantial scholarship from the third year onwards, and they also get a free accommodation. They also get a 3-course meal. That is our flagship scholarship, which is as old as Trinity, which means that it is more than 430 years old. So that was introduced to encourage professorships, and that is why the format of the scholarship remains very unique. But other than that, if students are looking at upfront scholarships, then we only offer partial scholarships, and they are not automatic. These would be on the basis of academic merit. Students have to apply after they get an offer. And of course, every student is not offered the scholarship. But at the same time, it would be safe to say that programs at Trinity pay for themselves in terms of, their learning, their student experience, the kind of networks that they make, the way our programs are designed. So like I said, they are 4 years, but they have a unique format. So in the first 2 years, for example, the first 2 years do not account for the final bachelor degree mark. In the first 2 years, we encourage students to network, to make friends for life, to step outside of their comfort zone and expand their horizons. Of course, without losing sight of their academic pursuits, but also without getting bogged down by that right after high school. So 2 years, we give them ample time to settle down into a university way of life. And then from the third year onwards, it becomes more condensed. So third year accounts for 30% of their final degree mark, and fourth year accounts for 70%. And out of that 70%, 40% comes from their capstone project that they do. So that capstone project is actually the key determining factor, which is going to determine, the kind of jobs that they are going to be sought after for, the kind of starting salaries that they are going to get, and the kind of roles that they are going to get. So that is all about Trinity. But there are other universities, other institutions which offer higher scholarships, more generous scholarships, but of course they are not Trinity. So that is to say, because Trinity has a legacy. It is one of the seven ancient universities. It has reinvented itself to remain among the top 100 universities, which is, phenomenal. And to be a part of a university like that is in itself an award. So we are very selective about the students that come to Trinity, and that is through making sure that we have a capacity. We offer places to students to ensure that there is a healthy diversity within the classroom, and students really get a truly global experience. We try and ensure from our point of view that we are taking care of students' interests in the best possible way. I hope that answers your question.
It did. In fact, it also helped me to understand that you already have a strong community and networking background that is already created in within the campus, and then you all are maintaining that legacy of being that oldest and the historic value which is there for your university, and you all are giving the right people with the right scholarships and like finding the right student and offering them that opportunity, which is amazing. Now, when it comes to the US, you have Common App, you have Coalition, you have UCs, and multiple other processes to apply to those universities. But when it comes to Ireland, or typically Trinity for that matter, or any other university in Ireland, what are some of the key tips that you would like to give to Indian students when they plan to apply to this university? Also, you can highlight few common mistakes that students end up making during this application process and how they can avoid them.
Unlike US universities, our process is very simple and straightforward for the same reason that our programs are 4 year in duration. So we are not expecting students to focus on anything other than their class 12 in their high schools, which we know for itself is fairly competitive in India. So we are not looking for any kind of profile building as such. We assess our applications for admission on the basis of their class 12th results only. We don't look at 9th, 10th, or 11th, except, for example, if a student has applied for a business program, but they do not have maths in class 12th, then they would still be eligible for our business programs. And in that case, we will look at their maths in class 10th. But other than that, all admissions are on the basis of class 12th. We give them admissions, or rather provisional admissions, on the basis of the predicted grades. We do ask for a motivation or a personal statement. So what we are looking at is that student is making an informed choice, because no matter what we said, Trinity is an excellent institution, and it is, but it may not be the right fit for every student. So we would want to see from their personal statement that they have done enough research before applying for admission. And we look at 2 LORs from the school, or the academic LORs, and an English language test certificate is required. So it is fairly simple and straightforward. It is online. It is through the course page on the website, and students can simply do that all by themselves. They have to upload the documents, and that's about it. At the undergrad level, we keep it as simple as possible, as less cumbersome as possible for the students. However, I would want to reiterate that we would ask students to make up their mind early, because our applications open this November. We have only one intake. And even though the published date on our website for application deadline is 30th of June, but programs do close much, much earlier than that. So it is very important that, they apply early. That is my only advice. Other than that, even in the personal statement, all we are looking for is for them to speak from their heart, whatever it might be. So there is no template for the personal statement, because it is personal. So whatever is their motivation for applying to Trinity is what we are looking at. And a brief one, we are not looking for a long essay. We are just looking for about 300 to 500 words, whatever would help them to summarize what they want to say. And that's about it. The only advice is to apply early. And it might be good that as soon as they move into class 12, they can start doing their research, try to get in touch with the students. We have a UniBuddy program. We have the South Asia team. And we are happy to meet with the parents, tell them all about Trinity, because as it is, parents are the ones who are, more concerned about the safety, and they may have other different kinds of questions. So we are there to help. So the sooner they start, the better informed they will be.
So one thing that you highlighted is, unlike other countries or unlike US also, you all only have one intake. So the students cannot miss out on the deadline, and it's more like a first come, first serve basis. The earlier they apply, they have a higher chance to be accepted and get a scholarship or get a better opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
And have you seen this trend increasing now where students are reaching out to the alumni or the current students, the senior students in the university, and reaching out to them through LinkedIn or any social media apps for that matter, and trying to know more about the university, trying to be more involved, unlike how it was back 5, 10 years earlier, where students just used to go with recommendations given by a counselor or a consultant that this university works good for us, and they were making that attempt. But now I feel students are more well informed. Do you see a change in the students in general? Like when I worked as a counselor, I have personally read some SOPs, the application essays, and I've thought that, okay, did they actually write it, or what went through their mind? How did they end up writing this? But now when I recently read one more essay, and I felt that, wow, that's a 17-year-old thinking about all of that, and they've already explored a lot of things that I didn't even think of. So did you all have those wow moments during your tenure, or did your team have it? What's your expression towards it?
Absolutely. It is so gratifying and sometimes really amazing to see the kind of activities that students are engaging in. They are making the time to do that while they are still in class 12. And we have come across profiles where the student is already into stocks. They have done some kind of, of course, MUN is always there, but there are a range of activities that they're already engaged in, and they're so well informed. And we have students who often say that we have not applied to any other university because Trinity is right for us. And they've done their research. They have not just about the university, they would have done about the course, what are the modules, what are the module descriptors, what is the campus life, what are the kind of societies that are there. And they would know about facilities like the global room that we have. They would have made the time to reach out to our current students, either through the Unibuddy program that we have, or through the Indian Student Society, or through our social pages. So yes, what we come across is that students who are coming, or rather applying to Trinity, are well informed. They know what they're signing up for, and they have their reasons clearly in their mind why they are choosing to apply to Trinity. So yes, the quality of students has definitely improved. And at the same time, they are also aware that signing up for an overseas higher education could mean that it is a long, process. 4 years is a very long
Yeah.
time. And now that it is a reality, they would know that, anything is possible. So we are getting those kind of students who know what they are looking for. So yes, the quality has definitely improved.
Amazing. And in fact, I have received few queries before as a counselor. Is there is an Indian community in most of the countries now, because there are a lot of Indians who have settled in different countries, whether it is US and other places. So food is not a problem when it comes to Indian students, and they have a local community to meet with, to grow with, to spend that time together. And what do you think is the condition back there in Ireland? Do they have a Asian community or an Indian community? How's the food for them? Because I feel a lot of young listeners out there have very specific questions. Like, I'm a vegetarian. If I go to Ireland, will I get vegetarian food? Same like India, and a lot more. Like, apart from the global exposure, apart from the academic exposure that they're getting, they also are a bit worried about their own community and belongingness in a different country. End of the day, they're just 17-year-old, 18-year-olds. So, yes, what do you think Ireland has to offer at that front?
About the food, yes, everything is readily available. On campus, we have multiple options where students can eat. And these would be hot foods, hot meals, which would cater to all kind of preferences, be it vegetarian, non-vegetarian, vegan meals are available. However, the accommodation options that we have, we do not have any catered accommodation. Unlike US, you often get options where there may be meal plans included, but that is not the case. Because we are right in the center of the city, we do not have anything on campus. For the first year, we guarantee accommodation in a facility which is Trinity's own accommodation, which is Trinity Hall. Though there is a convenience store on the premises, so it is fairly easy. But like all countries, like I already mentioned, in Ireland also there is a growing
Yeah.
Indian community,
Yeah.
particularly in Dublin. And that is one is, of course, because of the number of students who are coming, but also because of all the professionals who are working in all the companies that we have. For example, in Dublin, we have all the top gaming companies are based in Dublin. Then we have Facebook, we have Google, we have Bank of Ireland, IBM, Microsoft. They're all there, and they employ a large community of Indian professionals. So for those reasons, various kinds of foods are very easy to find. But at the same time, my advice would be to students to do learn to cook, because one is, of course, eating out, but ultimately they will have to take matters in their own hands because it's a long haul. They are signing
Yeah.
up for 4 and then their career after that. But in my experience, what I've seen is because Indian students, particularly the guys, are not very adept at cooking. But what I have seen is that they only struggle for the first initial, maybe a few months if they have
Few
not
months. Okay.
their hand already. But then after that, they start enjoying and they really start exploring. And this is all a part of evolving into
Yeah.
becoming an independent global citizen. That is a part from the
True.
education. It is also those small decisions that they have to make as to what is going to be, what is the ingredients, what is the groceries that they may want to shop for. And not just the groceries, but also keeping their room clean, their laundry, their part-time jobs, their studies, and of course their social life. So they will have to strike a balance between everything. That is how one of the reasons why students should be signing up for going away from home for their
Yeah.
studies,
Yeah.
because all of that contributes to their becoming independent thinkers, making their decisions, making their choices. All of that is a part of the package. It
So
is a great experience. It might be unnerving initially, but the kind of students who are applying for going to Trinity, I don't think that they will not be able to handle any kind of challenge. They are
got
signing
it.
up for very well aware of what they might have to do along with their studies. I don't see that as a challenge at all. And that is then again, it brings us to the same point that they need to start thinking, planning earlier. And then,
Yeah.
it will all come into place that what all is a part of that reality, not just the going overseas to getting an offer and going there, but what all comes along with it.
I feel the entire process, in addition to what you said, it's not just for Ireland, but even as a young scholar, it's mainly stepping out of their comfort zone and making their own space. What final piece of advice would you give to Indian students who are considering to study in Ireland or USA in general also, but mainly Ireland?
Especially for any student who is planning to go overseas, I would again reiterate the need to start thinking early, not leaving it to the last minute, because that is also something which a skill I would think that they would need to develop when they are there as a student, because time management is a very important skill, no matter where they are going. As an
Yeah.
overseas student, for example, if they're looking for a part-time job, for example, during Christmas, then all the applications for a part-time job during the holiday season has to be done 6 months in advance if they have to have a real chance of getting a part-time job. So time management is very important, and this it is better to start working on it as much in advance as possible. So
Mhm.
one is that make up your mind that yes, okay, I'm going to go overseas. Then the country, which country, they can shortlist a number of countries, and then the universities. So universities again, it is not just like I can talk about Trinity. Trinity is indeed the top ranked university in Ireland. It has a legacy of over 430
Yeah.
years, which says itself. But at the same time, it is also how condensed our programs are, how rigorous they are, what is the format of the program. So they need to familiarize themselves with that. Are they cut out for it? Are they ready to sign up for it? Because it's a huge investment. So that is another thing. And of course, reach out to the students, reach out to us, even if it is a US universities, everyone has local representation here. Or if there is not, then they can reach out to the university, set up a call, get their questions answered. And no question is silly. For example, we were talking about food. For someone not
Yeah.
getting the kind of food can really pull them down, if they do not get that.
It
So
is. It is. Absolutely.
reality. And it is not silly because for others, it might be the weather, which can be a complete dampener that they cannot handle it. So all of those things, and then what is the campus life like? For example, for someone it might be sports, which is a passion which drives them. So they need to see what are the facilities for sports that are available. It could be another.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. We had a
Mhm.
student from Mumbai, from Aditya Birla Academy. Ireland has a great focus on entrepreneurship. It is the most
Okay.
entrepreneurial country out Europe. He was already into a startup. And then we have a facility, we have an ideas workspace called Tangent, through which we help our students, our staff, and the wider community across Dublin with funding and
Mhm.
mentorship. So
Okay.
this student, within 3 months, he went in September, and I
Mhm.
think in November, he had prepared his pitch. He got a funding of 10,000 euros in within two
Wow.
months.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
the possibilities are immense, and it is just one example. And then there are the clubs, there are the societies. There's so much that they can get involved in, and they have those 2 years. They will have that time. They will have that
Mhm.
support to do everything that they would want to, because ultimately not just their own experience, but it is also going to add value to their CV.
Yeah.
I think that is very important. That one is, of course, what is the university? What is the country like? What is the university like? What is the program like? What are the modules? And then what are
Mhm.
the teaching instructions? And along with that, what are the supports? What else will they be able to do? And if they have a passion, is there a facility which will enable them to make sure that they do not have to give up on that? So, all of those things are very important if they are to make the most of their campus life, because these are their transformative years. So, it is very important that whatever is important for them, all those boxes are checked. And that
True.
needs time. As it is 12th,
True.
class 12th is very, very, tedious, we know it. But they will have to make time to do that and not make their parents do that. I know Indian parents are very much involved, but
Very
ultimately,
proactive.
you know, so they have to see that parents, of course, for them, it is finances, it is their safety. Those
Yeah.
are the key
Yeah.
factors for, but it is the student who's going to be on the campus. So they need to see that is it something what they want? They would have something in their head. Is it what they want or is it not? So it's good to
True.
say no and look for others, because there's a whole range of options available. So that is my only advice, that you need to make sure of what you are signing up for, because it's a huge investment. And of course,
True.
for the parents in terms of the finances, but also in terms of their efforts, for the student, their own efforts, their own hopes and aspirations, all of that matters. So that is my only advice, is start early. Class 11 might be a good time because they do not have as much pressure. That is the time they can
Mhm.
start talking to others, looking around, speaking to people. And every university would have the Unibuddy system. We have the Unibuddy program. They can get out,
Yeah.
reach to those students, speak directly to them. What has their experience been? So in Unibuddy, they need not speak necessarily to Indian students. They can filter down by the program, by the country,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
then speak to someone. It's always good to have another perspective. One could be an Indian student,
Absolutely.
another could be, another one who's not an Indian, to see how their experience has been and then make up their mind.
That is super
That is,
helpful. And that's a lovely piece of advice to the students. And you have spoken that in detail. And to conclude now, thank you so much, Nilanjana, for joining us today and sharing such valuable insights. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And Ireland as a destination has been growing consistently in the last few years, at least for India. We have seen it growing consistently. And if as students, you all are looking to study in Ireland or explore Ireland as an option, feel free to reach out to Nilanjana. Her details will be mentioned in the description. And you can follow ICAE for more updates, and you can follow Trinity College Dublin also for more updates. Stay tuned for more episodes. Until next time, this is Anne Gracious signing off. Have a nice day.
thank you for having me here. And of course, like I said, please feel free to reach out to us for any questions that you may have. Parents as well, we are happy to set up individual calls. As my last, signing off statement, I would definitely be confident in saying that coming to Trinity would be the best decision of your life. It is definitely going to help you become the best version of yourself. So do reach out to know more. And of course, for all the top universities, you will find help at hand. Otherwise, reach out to ICAE, they'll be able to guide you as best as anyone. Thank you so much for
Thank
having me
you.
here.